When I look at this, and these are 3 billion chemical letters, instructions for a human being, my eyes glaze over. But when scientist Eric Lander looks at this, he sees stories.
The genome is a storybook that's been edited for a couple billion years, and you couldn't take it to bed like 1001 Arabian Nights and read a different story in the genome every night.
This is the story of one of the greatest scientific adventures ever. And at the heart of it is a small, very powerful molecule, DNA. For the past 10 years, scientists all over the world have been painstakingly trying to read the tiny instructions buried inside our DNA. And now, finally, the human genome has been decoded.
We're at the moment the scientists wait for. This is what we wanted to do. We're now examining and interpreting the genetic code.
This is the ultimate imaginable thing that one could do scientifically, is to go and look at our own instruction book and then try to figure out what it's telling us.
And what it's telling us is so surprising and so strange and so unexpected. 50% of the genes in a banana are in us?
How different are you from a banana?
I feel I can say this with some authority, very different from a banana.
You may feel different.
I eat a banana.
All the machinery for replicating your DNA, all the machinery for controlling the cell cycle, the cell surface, for making nutrients, all that's the same.
So what does any of this information have to do with you or me? Perhaps more than we could possibly imagine. Which one of us will get cancer, or arthritis, or Alzheimer's? Will there be cures? Will parents in the future be able to determine their children's genetic destinies?
We've opened the box here that has got a huge amount of valuable information. It is the key to understanding disease and, in the long run, to curing disease. But having opened it, we're also going to be very uncomfortable with that information for some time to come.
Yeah, some of the information you're about to see will make you very uncomfortable. On the other hand, some of it I think you will find amazing and hopeful. I'm Robert Krulwich, and tonight we will not only report the latest discoveries of the Human Genome Project, you will meet the people who made those discoveries possible and who competed furiously to be first to be done. And as you watch our program on the human genome, we will be raising a number of issues: genes and privacy, genes and corporate profits, genes and the odd similarity between you and the yeast. And we'd like to have your thoughts on all these subjects, so please, if you will, log on to NOVA's website. It's located at pbs.org. It'll be there after the broadcast, so do it after the broadcast, where you can take a survey. The results will be immediately available and continually updated. We'll be right back.
To begin, let's go back 4 and some billion years ago to wherever it was that the first speck of life appeared on Earth, maybe on the warm surface of a bubble.
That speck did something that has gone on uninterrupted ever since. It wrote a message. It was a chemical message that it passed to its children, which then passed it on to its children, and to its children, and so on.
The message has passed from the very first organism all the way down through time to you and me. Like a continuous thread through all living things. It's more elaborate now, of course, but that message, very simply, is the secret of life. Here is that message contained in this stunning little constellation of chemicals we call DNA. You've seen it in this form, the classic double helix, but since we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about DNA, I wondered, what does it look like when it's raw, in real life. So I asked an expert.
I mean, DNA has a reputation for being such a mystical, highfalutin sort of molecule, all this information, your future, your heredity. It's actually goop. See, this here is DNA.
Professor Eric Lander is a geneticist at MIT's Whitehead Institute.
It's very, very long strands of molecules, these double helices of DNA, which when you get them all together, just look like little threads of cotton.
And these strands were literally pulled from cells, blood cells, or maybe skin cells of a human being.
Whoever contributed this DNA, you can tell from this whether or not they might be at early risk for Alzheimer's disease. You can tell whether or not they might be at early risk for breast cancer. And there's probably about 2,000 other things you can tell that we don't know how to tell yet, but we'll be able to tell. And it's really incredibly unlikely that you could tell all that from this. But that's DNA for you. That apparently is the secret of life, just hanging off there on the tube.
And already DNA has told us things that no one had expected. It turns out that human beings have only twice as many genes as a fruit fly. Now how can that be? We are such complex and magnificent creatures, and fruit flies, well, they're fruit flies. DNA also tells us that we are more closely related to worms and to yeast than most of us would ever have imagined. But how do you read what's inside a molecule? Well, if it's DNA, if you turn it so you can look at it from just the right angle, you will see in the middle what look like steps in a ladder. Each step is made up of two chemicals, cytosine and guanine, or thymine and adenine. They come always in pairs called base pairs, either C and G or T and A for short. This is, step by step, a code, 3 billion steps long, the formula for a human being. We're all familiar with this thing. This shape is very familiar.
Double helix, yeah.
Double helix. First of all, I'm wondering, this is my version of a DNA molecule. Is this, by the way, what it looks like?
Well, give or take. I mean, cartoon version of it.
Cartoon
Yeah.
version.
You know, a little like that or so, yeah.
So there are, in almost every cell in your body, if you look deep enough, you will find this chain here.
Oh, yes, stuck in the nucleus of your cell.
Now, how small is this? If in a real DNA molecule, the distance between the two walls is how wide?
Oh, golly.
Look at this, he's asking for help.
This distance is about, this distance is about 10 angstroms, which is...
That's 1/1000th of a meter when it's clumped up in a very particular way.
Well, no, it's curled up some like that, but you see, it's more than that. You can't curl it up too much because these little negatively charged things will repel each other. So you fold it on its. I'm going to break your model.
don't break my model.
Yeah, I don't want to break your
Very
model. But, you got this, and then it's folded up like this, and then those are folded up on top of each other. And so, in fact, if you were to stretch out all of the DNA, it would run, I don't know, thousands and thousands of feet.
Okay. But the main thing about this is the ladder, is the steps of this ladder. If I knew it was A and T and C and C and G and G and A.
No, it's not G and G.
I'm
It's
sorry,
G
whatever
and C.
the rules are.
Base
The
pairs,
grammar.
yeah, right.
Yeah. If I could read each of the individual ladders, I might find the picture of what?
Of your children. This
Of
is
my
what
children?
you pass to your children. People have known for 2,000 years that your kids look a lot like you.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you must pass them something, some instructions that give them the eyes they have and the hair color they have and the nose shape they do. The only way you pass it to them is in these sentences. That's it.